proud co-sponsor of this all-important motion on the Mambila hydroelectric power project. And I appreciate the distinguished Senator Manu for bringing this to the fore. I'm going to support this on two plunges, on two major concerns. The first is that injecting 3,000 megawatts of electricity into our national grid will greatly boost the epileptic power supply. And secondly, considering the fact that we should begin to look at a better energy mix, hydroelectric power supply falls under the clean energy that the whole world is actually trying to promote. Especially yesterday, we actually raised concerns on the adulterated diesel that is being imported. So if we actually are concerned about climate change and about our environment, then we all need to support this motion in consideration of the fact that we need to look at a healthier means of energy supply. But I would also appreciate if Senator Manu incorporates his earlier prayer, which is to establish the ad hoc committee, which will look into investigating the litigations, or the, should I say, the legalities around the contracts that had taken place since the year 1999. Because if you listen to the previous speakers, you could see that there are actually some concerns that have been raised by whether it's the previous or current contract owners. As the chair committee on local content, I would say that I have received quite a few petitions with regards to the ownership or the legal tussles around the Mambila project. So as we are asking on the president to consider this as one of the key projects of his administration, it is also important that we tidy all ends. Contracts that are non-binding should be laid to rest. Any arbitration that is ongoing must be looked into. And we should be very mindful not to pacify people, just people or companies that do not have capacity, but to pacify them and incorporate them into local content. We should be very careful of that, sir. If we must have this project up and running in the specified lead time, then we should base our selection or selection of the contractors on merit. Those that have the financial capacity must be prioritized. The companies or the experts that have the technical expertise must also be prioritized. No sentimental consideration, please. So we need to look into the qualifications of Sunrise. If they have been given the chance over the past years and they have failed to comply with it, then we need to look into the bigger players in the industry. We are suffering electricity-wise. Our businesses are actually suffering. Our homes are relying on the diesel that are actually poisoning us because they are adulterated and many others. So I rest my case on the fact that while we are pushing for this project to be considered by the president as one of the key projects of his administration, we should also open up an ad hoc investigation into the legalities of all the contracts. Thank you.
Thank you. The last speaker, last contributor, Senator Oshiomhole.
Mr. President, I am extremely grateful for the privilege to allow me to say something. I want to appreciate my brother, distinguished Senator Manu, for this motion, and even more, a lot of our senators, Goje, former Senate President, and all those former senators who have enlightened us about the history of this project. Some of us have read about this Mambila thing on the page of newspapers, but today we realize that in these chambers, we have in-house expertise and sufficient knowledge that has to do with this project, including the very enlightening additional information by Senator Sadi Musa. Mr. President, sir, this issue has nothing to do with any part of Nigeria. Whether north, east, northwest, it's about Nigeria. And the word is unanimous that there are two key drivers in modern society. First, skilling your people through appropriate education. The other is power. Every time we have had debate in these chambers, we speak to the use of technology. These technologies are power-driven. And I think the more we diversify the source of power, the better for Nigeria. And so for me, I agree with all of those who have said this should be seen as a national challenge. And it's consistent with the renewed hope agenda. In this context, my understanding of renewed hope is that all of those things that have been abandoned, the hope of Nigeria dashed, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has promised to renew our hope and to revigorate and revive those things that have been forgotten. I am satisfied, sir, that nobody, no nation has all the resources it needs to do what it has to do. What gets done is a reflection of the priorities of those who are responsible for leadership. The other thing arising from all the narration, for which I'm extremely grateful, former Senate President, Governor Goje, Sani, and others, is that, Mr. President, I think it is within the competence of the Senate, arising from these experiences, where people who have nothing other than a briefcase, they go into collusion with elements in the Ministry of Justice. They wrap up an agreement which is meant to favor them, even as they show no competence, no evidence of competence that they can get the job done. And when they can't do the job, you ask them to leave. We are asked to pay some money to allow those who have the competence to do it. That is my summary of all that has happened. And typically, why I say it is within our power, Mr. President, shall we, on another occasion, enact a law that says a dispute arising from commercial transaction in Nigeria, the arbitration, where necessary, must be on the soil of Nigeria and not in a foreign country. We are a sovereign nation. And I can see that it is Nigerian lawyers and government officials in the Ministry of Justice over the years, they always enter into an agreement that disfavors the country to the benefit of private investors who pay a peanut for agreement to be worded in a way that Nigeria is in trouble. Now our enthusiasm, all the effort has now been delayed and almost compromised by legal issues, as if it's a foreign territory. So I support this motion, and I want all of us to see it as for what it is. It's a huge national asset. There are other secondary benefits arising from bringing this into fruition. We will never have all the money if there are people who are ready to invest in it. I think we should find the courage to deal with it, and then make a law that arbitration shall be only in Nigeria if it arises from a transaction between Nigeria institution and any corporate citizen, whether it's a Nigerian citizen or a foreign corporate citizen. Mr. President, I thank you for allowing me to say something because I came late, and I was very anxious to contribute to this because without power, there can be no jobs.
I can understand because the job opportunities that will be created probably attract you to that, apart from the fact that power will be provided.
Mr. President, thank you very much for recognizing me to speak on this very national project. The Mambila hydroelectric power project is one, like my brother said last, should be a national priority. Power is very critical in our industrial development. Nigeria is not making any move towards having effective industrial revolution program because of lack of power. We can't even power our homes. How much more thinking about setting up mega projects? Time is running out on us. That's what I stood up to say. Because from this motion, it has been revealed the Kadanji power project in Niger Republic is being processed. And our Kainji Dam hydroelectric power station that we have been relying on over the years, once that dam is built, it will slow down the efficiency of the Kainji Dam. So the alternative we have today is that Mambila hydroelectric power that is far away from the other side. We have no competition there with anybody. So government should scale up its priority in these legacy projects we are hearing about. Roads are very important, but we do some and take this Mambila hydroelectric power projects as very critical and place it very high in the list. If you look at the motion, you see that joint venture with Chinese companies have not worked for Nigeria. I make bold to say that because you know that the Port Harcourt, Aba, Enugu, Makurdi, Maiduguri Railway project, the joint venture was signed with a Chinese company. On these terms, again, 85%, 15%. They've not done anything there. If they don't have funds, why should we continue to sign this agreement with companies that will sign? This one was signed in 2017, 7 years ago. For 7 years ago, for 6 years construction period, 72 months. And we are still talking about how to start it. We have lost the time allotted in the joint venture program. It would have been completed by 2023. We are in 2024, we have not started. So we need to get serious and find companies that can do it. There was a company Senator Tambuwal spoke about that have been doing effectively. We can search around. The problem is funding. So if you don't get a good funding program, no matter how you conceive a project, now, no matter how beneficial it will be, it will not survive. So I want to support this motion moved by my brother, Manu, Senator Manu, to say that government should put this one on top of the priorities because we need power to drive our industrial revolution program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Senator Sani Musa has information to untangle.
Information about this project that we had was during the last administration, when the 5 legacy projects of the past government, Mambila Power Project is one of the cardinal projects which the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has set as a target. But due to all of these issues that have arisen along the way, there's not so much that we can do. Because I was informed, then serving as the chairman Senate Committee on Finance, that project has been moved to Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority to source for fund. But along the line, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway was ongoing, the Kaduna-Abuja Road is ongoing, the East-South-West is ongoing, Enugu is ongoing, including the second Niger Bridge and the Mambila Power Project. Now there are no issues again. No money has been paid. Sunrise has the right as a local content to contest and to bid for such projects. Now that the present administration has also taken this as one of its legacy projects, we commend the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to have taken this bold initiative. And he has taken this project away from the NSIA and give it to the Green Infrastructural Fund. And they are ready to fund. But also, sir, I want to let us adhere strictly to the prayer of this motion. Let us have an ad hoc committee in place, not only to carry out this investigative hearing, but also to follow through with whatever is happening in this particular area, so that Nigeria, for once, if this additional 3,050 megawatt will come into our system, it will go a long way to help businesses, create more employment, and also move this country forward. So it's a good motion, it is timely, and it's something that we, as a Senate, must take with all seriousness to see that this project comes to pass. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.